Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
Here's the hands on the head together. Low circles. Take your time, let your back warm up slowly. Like a string pulling your hips all the way around. Good, and change directions. Again, starting off really slow. Take your time. Feel the body roll. Then the torso acts as the counterweight. Hey, Fritz. Do you want to join?
I'm doing it Shane's style.
Okay. And two more. Good, coming back to the center, stepping out, and body fanning. So we draw the umbilicus to the spine, pivoting the hips back as we sink, hips forward as we raise. And nice and slow, focus on articulation at the pelvis. If you're looking for more of a challenge, in the hands at the center of the chest. And more of a challenge still, hands behind the ears. Try to keep your weight even between the toes and the heel. And two more. Thanks a little bit. Oh, and Eric, can you turn your mic off, please? And from here, belly drawn to back, back straight, sinking, raise, and lift. Back is straight as we draw down, pelvis comes forward, raising back. Pushing into the ground as you sink. And two more. Very nice, elongating the stance a little bit. Belly still drawing to the spine. You sink forward, the back flat. Keeping the weight once again between the toes and the heel. Turn, look past the foot, around, and look. It's okay to slight bend in the knee. And 10 more of the swoop. Last one. Narrowing the stance a little bit. With the feet a little bit wider than shoulder width. Again, taking the hips in nice big circles. Remember to keep some bend in both your legs as we draw around and swoop. Two more. And changing directions. Again, start with nice big circles and add in that swoop. Making sure the hips are traveling all the way around your base. Good. Relaxing back to the middle. You change the view to gallery. There you all are. Excellent. Okay, with the feet to even again, focusing on the right leg, working on our external rotation. Starting with nice slow circles, describing the full shape out, around, and back. Very nice. From there, focusing on that gentle grab with the foot, bringing that pivot into a greater focus. So we're not wheeling the hips so much, we're rolling to raise, rolling to raise, drawing the umbilicus to the spine, feeling that roll, drawing up into the middle, softening the chest, knitting the clavicles, and raising that head neck. So this twist is coming almost like a corkscrew up, pulling up through the leg, into the belly, through the chest to the head neck. Good, and change directions. Very nice, April. Take your time at the beginning, rounding. Make sure the circle is complete. You're not jumping any parts of it. Focusing on just that left leg. From there, the foot grab, which will decrease the amount of movement. It'll be a better pull up and just move in circles. So again, we're just hip wiggling before moving all the way around. We start grabbing with the foot. We're going to direct that movement upwards. Drawing the umbilicus to the spine, raising the neck. From here, rolling into figure eights. One side, two side. Take your time. Feel that slow movement, what muscles come online, how they link to the next. Adding in that foot grab so you can really feel the drawing up the lower leg into the adductor muscles, drawing the umbilicus in so you can feel that gentle roll in the belly of the dantian. Knitting of the clavicles, make space for the heart. Raising of the head neck so everything has a really clear path to follow. Good. Returning back to that center. Back to the first leg, internal rotation. Out, around, and in. Again, take your time, make sure the shape is clear. And once again, adding in that foot grab. Good, Eric. Eric, really take your time as you round this part as the hip draws back to create the shape around. Drawing the hip back and then around. There you go. Good, good. As you play with that, Eric, then draw that umbilical connection, and that will decrease the amount of twist, right? It won't be as overt, but you'll get a bit more of that draw up as you pull the belly in. Very nice, very nice. And changing legs. Left leg now, internal rotation. Good, Caro. Caro, take your time for the first couple. Smooth it out. Big loops around and in. Big circles around and in. Try to hang right on the edge of what your flexibility can easily maintain. Very nice. And once you kind of warm up that stretch, then engage with the foot and bring it more into a focus. So you want to make sure that your range of motion is a good deal beyond your active movement, right? That way you won't be impeded at all as you roll in this kind of tighter space. There you go, good. Big range first. Little range within after you establish that full range. Excellent. And then from here, drawing into that internally rotating figure eight. Good, April. Pay special attention to that moment when things transition from one circle to the next circle. The round is looking good. Make sure you feel your hips draw back to describe the very beginning of each of those arcs. Good. Good, and Craig, soften the movement in the chest and elbows a little, and try to feel the belly roll as you pull side to side. Relax in that round. Good, Pam. And Pam, when you're ready, relax the stance down just a smidge, not so much that your legs are angry with you, but enough that you can really feel the rotation of one hip into the next. One circle round, next circle. Good. Make sure everyone's taking their time to ascribe clean shapes on both parts of the rotation. Got 5 more seconds of this. And calming back to the middle. Very good. We're going to do lifting and drawing next a little bit. Lifting and drawing is done off of an external rotation, and it's done with a bit of a delay. So as I turn out, the hip leads. As the hip pulls, the arm follows. And notice how that draws the next hip through, which relaxes the shoulder down. Hip draws, arm follows. And so I'm drawing up from the center, rolling up and over my hips. See how that concavity in my chest gives me a lot of space to play. There's space in the armpits. And I'm taking my time because what I'm lifting has weight, right? It has my own weight. I'm lifting myself up and over my middle. And so you must feel the weight of your shoulder pulling up and over your hip, pulling up and over your hip. And then melting down as the leg draws through. So the leg leads the arm down and in. The leg leads the arm up and over. Take your time so you can feel that delay. The hips lead, the belly and torso begin to follow. And there are lots of ways you can begin to improve the feeling of this, right? You can start with the feet, then try to organize a cascade of movement up from the feet. That's not a bad place to start because there's a nice kind of sequence you can follow through there. Once you get comfortable leading from your feet, then you can try to kind of mimic that belly feel and get both the arms and the legs to roll off that belly. Making sure the umbilicus is still drawing to the spine. The head and neck is still lifting. Very nice. And relaxing back to the center. Next, we're going to go to our Shuang Pi, our double splitting, right? We're going to do that from internal rotation. So whereas external rolls out and pulls outward, internal rolls in and consolidates, okay? So we establish that relaxed, internally rotating base. As the hip raises, the arms follow. We turn, that draws the arms in. Hip raises, arms follow. Turn to slice, turn to slice. Take your time. And again, really try to identify that belly roll to lift. Very nice, Carol. Very nice. Good space in the armpits and good focus to the eyes, Carol. All of you, try to feel the difference in the abdominal engagement in lifting versus the slicing. There's a very distinct change in the belly feel as you go from the raise to the fall, raise to the fall. Lift, drop, lift, drop. Good, Craig. Focusing on the drop in front. Sink, raise, sink. Good. Very nice, April. Make sure the belly connection stays strong so the hips stay focused. Notice how the lateral line of my body never tilts out. It's plumb line, side to side as I roll. There you go. So use that turn of the pelvis, turn of the pelvis. Very nice. Good, Eric. A little more heaviness in the arms, Eric. There you go. Feel the weight of your shoulders drawing through. There, very nice. It's internally going for weightlifting. Just a couple more of these. Good. And relaxing back to the center. Very briefly, we're going to do our roll to press, roll to press, right? And there are several ways of breaking down this exercise. We're going to begin with the most simple of just the great big single circle in the arms and hips. We're not going to worry about the figure eights yet. All right, so there's a couple slow rolls. I want you to feel the shape that your body's taking as it passes each time. I want you to get comfortable in this shape. I want to feel familiar so that we break out of it, you can really identify where we're breaking and how that break is moving through your structures. And on 3, we're going to roll the press slowly. 1, 2, and on 3, as I draw, my hip comes forward. That hip coming forward takes me off of the rail, off the track that I was following here, and puts me on a wider orbit. I follow that roll around, and then as I drop my hips back, I'm arcing behind that orbit again, and then the drill to sink, and changing sides. 1, 2, and on 3, pulling the hip through, break that orbit, round back to press. Good. Changing sides. 1, 2, and on 3, break that orbit, drilling back, press through, changing sides. 1, 2, and on 3, roll that left hip, drilling into the right leg as you press. Good, changing sides. 1, 2, and on 3, roll the hip, drill to press. Last one of this quality. 1, 2, round to press. Very good. Now, just briefly, we're going to bring in that figure 8 in the base. Okay? So beginning with an externally rotating figure 8. The arms follow. Notice how where there was once just one big sphere we were rounding, now there's a couple. And that coordination can be a little tricky at first, so take your time. There's no hurry. When I was first learning this, I would focus on either the hips or the arms one at a time. And then a few revolutions trying to get both together, then separating it out again just to make sure I was making progress on both halves. And on 3, we're going to roll to press. 1, 2, and on 3, follow that roll, the drill, and the press through. To the other side, take your time. Find that figure 8. Go slow. It's okay if you get lost. If you get lost, just start on that base for a second, scribe that figure 8 for a moment, and then find that natural roll in. Very nice, Carol. And 1, 2, and on 3, round that hip, drill to press. Again, start with that figure 8. And then feel the arms draw off of that figure 8, rolling. 1, 2, the hip still leading, and for 3, round that right hip, drill the left. Changing sides, again, totally okay to start just with that base. And 1, 2, 3, roll to press. Good, and try a couple on your own. Very good, Caro. Good setup. Excellent, Caro. Try to feel that circle pressing oblong a little more, and then use that gentle recoil to initiate the next movement. There you go. Yep. Good, April. The coordination's getting a lot smoother. It's coming along nicely. Excellent. Nice press. And as you press out, make sure that belly feel is there. Draw you to that other side. 1, right back around. Very good, April. All right, Craig. Slow the arms down a little, Craig, and try to feel the weight of your body as you roll. Feel your arms as heavy. Take your time, Craig, so you can feel that roll to sink. Feel the weight of your arms. Feel how you use that middle to raise the weight of your arms, and that middle to guide the weight of your arms. Heavy to press. Heavy to press. Hey friends, can I borrow you? Thank you. You're the bestest helper. So if I push my arm, if I just whip my arm and press, even Fritz can begin to break my connection, pushing into my shoulder, and I can have a hard time moving her because she is mighty, and she is. But if I roll and I take my time feeling the weight of that arm, you see how she just kind of stumbles? She moves from her feet. If I move my shoulder and press out at all, push back, push towards me, not pull, push. Hard as you can, flat foot. There you go. Notice how she has that solid base, she's pushing her shoulders. If I roll from my feet and press, see how she stabilizes from the toes first, all right? And that's one of the, thank you. That's one of the keys of this kind of work. If you push up top, you affect them up top. If you push from the bottom, you affect them from their bottom. And so you want that roll to come from the feet because when you press into somebody, you want to stabilize them and lift them off their root, not tilt them back a little from their chest. Does that make sense? And so again, when we do partner work and pressure tests, it make a lot more sense. But for right now, what you move from is where you push from and where you affect them in their structures. You move from your feet, you affect their feet. You move from your shoulders, you affect their shoulders. And everything kind of builds off of that idea. Good, keep playing for a second more. I'm going to go to Eric and Pam. There you go, Eric. Nice attention to the hips, nice attention to the belly. It's looking very smooth. How's that feeling?
It's feeling better. It's feeling easier. I think it's easier to transition from 1 to 1 than 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. But I do have to remember to focus here.
Totally, and it is hard to add in the 3 because it kind of gets out of the pattern of the turn to press. But it gives you a chance to make all that kind of essential pivot work and make sure that the principles are in line, which is why we usually start there. Hi, Laura. All right, Pam. Good. Awesome. Shoulders and hips moving in opposite with that roll to press. Shoulder and hips opposite, roll to press. Good. Let's take a second and look at Haigui Ocean Turtle. It's a wonderful movement series that can help to fill in some of the gaps of the more complicated stuff. The basic idea of Haigui is just opposite body movement, right? The arms raise, the body sinks. We pull left, the arms draw right. The arms press, the body raises. And the feel, the reason why it's called Ocean Turtle is the feel is that of a giant turtle kind of floating along on the waves, occasionally raising up for air, and then dropping right back down and under. So there's a kind of heft to the movement, right? It's not dun, dun, press and lift. It's a roll. Very slow, relaxed, heavy roll. The arms are moving in one circle. The body's moving in the other. We're again going at a 4 count, so you can just play with the basic movement track. So if the hands to even and the body straight like this, I bring my hips to the right and my hands to the left. As I sink my waist, the hands come up just a little. I traverse the middle, hips go left, hands go right, press to raise, cross the belly, hands raise, body sinks, cross the top, hands press, body raises. Cross the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And like everything that begins as a box in the surf training, the box is just there to get you comfortable with the basic directionality of it. From there, we start to round off the edges. It becomes one smooth circle. But if you're struggling at all with coordination, that box of middle, sink, across, raise is a really nice way of falling back in the pattern. Very good, Eric. Very good, April. Take your time with that roll. As we press, it's like we're pushing ourselves out of the water to take that breath. 1 stroke for swimming, and dive back down. Also notice how little my arms are actually moving. My torso is moving a whole lot, which gives the illusion that my hands are doing this. But in reality, my hands are just moving a few inches in each direction, and it's my belly and core that's creating most of that shape. Press. Notice how my head lifts away, I roll, soften. Press, roll to soften. 2 more in this direction. Taking your time, full circles. Last one, full circles. And from the press, we're just going to reverse by raising up and through. And what we're doing right now is the root basic movement of Haigui. It's an incredibly free-flowing, exercise. It can take on all manner of shapes. You can work on punches, evasions, stepping. There's lots of really nifty stuff you can do here, but it's all predicated on that opposite movement coordination. So this is a really nice place to hang out in the beginning. I see my teacher roll from just the basic movement into the drawing, into works with his uppercuts, into works with his hooks, straight punches. I've seen him use it to find ways of lifting a foot to step through. There's all kinds of fun ways you can play with this. Good. Relaxing back to the middle. Okay, how's everyone doing so far? Any questions before we move on?
Is this external rotation itself, like external rotation?
I'm sorry, I can't quite.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Is that external rotation?
So Haigu, beginning, doesn't use or external, it just uses opposite body movement. And then in the end, there are elements of internal, right? As I roll that hip in, there's the internal. I can also focus on the external. So really, whatever direction I want to pull from, I can bring that into the movement. But the basic idea in the beginning is just here, here, raising to sinking, and then looping that together. And then you can see how they get this pressure and coiling in the hips, and then I can go into my external rotation and melt back into Haigui. I can use internal rotation, bringing the slices in, right back into the Haigui, internal for striking. All kinds of fun stuff can begin to flow out of this as we begin to attach the opposite body movement to the internal external rotation. And it's a really neat way of kind of bringing all these things together into one sort of free form expression. And so there's no form of Haigui beyond just that basic notion. Everything beyond that is just kind of what you're playing with, bringing into that model of heavy body weight, gentle pulling from side to side. Does that make sense? Awesome, awesome. And again, I found this one hugely useful. When I was first working on the coils to press, I would do just 5 minutes a day of the rolling side to side. It was one of the main ways I cracked that puzzle for myself. So let's do a little bit of work with leg lifting. Is everyone cool with that? Sweet. And we'll go into the opening of the form. Get that timer up. All right. So starting with the feet together. Relax your weight, the body rock back and forth, and settle comfortably in the middle. We're going to run through our checklist, beginning with that foot grab. And again, as we grab, it's a gentle grab, just enough to feel the arch draw up a little and feel the weight spread gently, ever so slightly, to the outside of the foot. In doing so, the adductor muscles also come online a little bit. From here, the umbilicus draws to the spine, bringing the pelvis into true neutral. And in that neutral, I can feel my quadriceps engaging just a little as all of my torso and above rests neatly on that pelvis. Clavicles knit, creating space for the chest, space for the heart, and the head neck raises gently to the ceiling. From here, we're going to bring the weight into the right leg by raising, drawing, and pressing down. And as we press down, the head neck is raising up, creating space in that left hip, which will then draw across body to that right shoulder, raising the knee up just a little, feeling the belly work, and take a second, oscillating the knee up and down to feel how the sensation in the abdomen shifts from a low lift to a middle lift, and you can maintain that connection into a slightly higher lift, and then don't let that connection go as you sink back down slowly. And we'll return back to neutral, And just shake things out for a minute. You want to make sure we're bringing in the same postural elements each time so we don't get lazy and omit something from series to series. So once again, the feet grab. Jane, what do you have? I know. Oh yeah. Okay. Bad one. Belly draws the spine. Knitting the clavicles. Raising the head and neck as the weight lifts. Crosses. Presses. The head and neck raises. The hip lifts. And the foot travels with. And again, take a second to feel what's happening in the belly as the knee raises up, raises down. Maintain that connection as high as you can with the knee. And then back down again, nice and slow, so you don't lose anything as you return to the ground. And back to neutral. We do the other side now twice. Feet grab, belly draws, clavicles knit, head and neck raises as we draw up, transverse and press, raising the head neck, creating space in that right hip as we pull cross body, pressing into the ground, feeling the belly engage as the foot leaves the ground, paying attention to how that belly feel shifts as the knee raises up and sinks a little, up again, and a little higher, and maintain that connection as we draw down to the ground. So is everyone feeling something of abdominal engagement as the knee raises so far? A little bit? Good, good. Now we're going to talk about the directionality of that raise, the second lift on the left, okay? So same setup, right? Relax that weight, running through our checklist of feet, belly, clavicle, and head neck. As we raise that weight up, it draws across, and now as it presses down, this is where things get kind of nifty. So it's not just a down to up suspension movement, right? The idea of the dantian is we're functioning with this model of a sphere. And so the feeling is a lift, round, back to press. And so as I draw up, I feel the abs raising up. As the leg dislodges from the ground, I feel that movement traveling back. And as the foot raises, I feel that ball rolling back down like it's pulling the hip on a string. As that ball rolls back and down, the leg can go up. If the leg wants to go higher, the ball rolls a little more. The leg wants to go down, the ball rolls back as the hip sinks. Right? Give that a try on the side. Once again, we're pressing down, raising cross body, rolling that dantian up to lift, drawing around and back down as the knee continues on its way up. Good. Rolling back around to sink. Is anyone completely lost by that, or does that make some sense? Pretty good? Excellent, excellent. So, now that we're pretty comfortable with the idea of the lift and everyone's felt a bit of that roll, we're going to use that as our setup, and then we're going to use a vertical pivot as we rotate the knee around in circles, okay? So back to that middle stance, grabbing with the feet, drawing the umbilicus, knitting the clavicles, and raising the head neck. As we raise that right leg, so raise that right, and lifting from the right, drawing the middle. Can you knock my back and forth over there? Pressing down as the ball rolls back and presses as the foot raises. Now from here, we want to move that patella in a circle. So we're going to feel, let's start with just the knee rolling by itself. Feel that movement echoing in the center. So you can put a hand on your belly so you can feel how the muscles are moving in that circle. And then returning to lift, to feel the belly roll first. To feel that belly roll and the knee follows. Starting from the middle, the dantian has rolled back to lift the knee, And now the ball is rolling to draw that knee in circles from the middle. And back to the center. The knee roll externally. Feel the belly articulate as the knee rolls out. Bring the knee back to the center. Feel the belly roll before the knee moves. And try to follow that belly roll with the knee. The belly is guiding the way. The belly is pulling the knee in circles. And relax. Take a second to shake that out and feel where in your abdomen you feel a bit sore. It's a good indicator as the muscles fatigue what you're using to maintain the shapes. Right now, it'll help you to fall back into that more rapidly without needing to start external first and going internal. Once you have the idea of what you're utilizing, you can just go straight from that press to lift and move from the middle, and everything will have that connection to the core. Does that all make sense so far? Excellent. Let's try the other leg. Feet to even. Gentle grabbing with the ground. Belly draw, clavicles knit, head neck raise. Lifting, drawing across, pressing as the head neck lifts, feeling that dantian roll back like a spool of thread, pulling the knee up. And beginning with outside in movement, so just moving the knee in external rotation, hand on the belly so you can feel more easily what muscles are being used in this roll. Once you have a pretty good idea of the shape your belly is kind of rolling in, you can relax the knee back to neutral. The hand comes down. Then try to mimic that feeling from this time from the belly first, feeling abdominal muscles roll and carry that knee in a circle. Very nice. And back to neutral. From the knee first, internal rotation. Hand to the belly if you want to, so you can really feel the muscles engage around that movement. Once you have a feel of that pattern, knee comes neutral, relax the hands. Try to feel the belly move first, pulling the knee with it in that circle, leading from that middle. And then back to the center, relax down, and take a second to shake it out. Any questions on that? It's a fairly complex idea, but I'm trying to break it down in a way that makes it digestible. If you have any questions or feel lost, please let me know. Excellent. Can I see all of you give that a try once on the side of your choice? Good, Pam. Good postural corrections. Feel weight in the hands, Pam. So you want the axial skeleton, that middle, to be engaged, but the periphery, just relax as you can. It's going to feel as much in the middle as possible. The more engaged you are in the arms, the harder it is to feel the belly in those really gentle circles. Very nice. Good, Laura. Good. Take your time. Identify how the belly's moving. Excellent. Very nice, Caro. Maintaining that lift of the head neck and that belly draw in. So there's a little less wobble as you move. Try to feel that stability so that as the umbilicus rolls, as the belly rolls around, you can feel those muscles rotating with the knee. Very nice. Good, Eric. Maintain that pressure into the ground with the leg that's on the ground, actively pushing down and raising up with your head and neck simultaneously. Very nice. Good, April. I like that pace. Making some good adjustments to your base leg. Excellent. I can see you starting to really work on getting that middle to initiate. That's fantastic. Good, Craig. Do you see how when you slow it down, the feeling becomes deeper and deeper? You can really tell exactly what phase of the abdomen you're in as you roll through. Excellent. And relax, everyone. Good. Any questions before we do the opening of the form a couple times?
Is it a bad sign if the place where I feel soreness is in my hip?
No, it's not a bad sign.
Okay.
That's entirely okay. Do you tend to get hip pain?
Not really.
Good, good. Yeah, in that case, nothing about. If you tend to get hip pain, then that might be a thing we want to address with other exercises to kind of balance out and give space to. But if you're feeling soreness in the hip in the beginning, that's just all this connective tissue coming online and getting used to being raised and moved, right? You're not an old-time veteran of kicking styles, and so a lot of these areas are still developing, to become the most useful they can be, and that's entirely okay. As you feel that soreness, just make sure you're taking your time with it and not pushing it too hard in any one day.
Okay, that makes sense. I was more concerned that maybe I could have been doing something wrong because I expected my stomach muscles, I don't think are that strong, but I would have expected the muscles in my hips to be stronger, but I could be wrong.
It's like, it's like how runners have a hard time cycling for the first time, and cyclists have a hard time running for the first time, right? Just because you have very strong legs doesn't mean they're strong in every angle all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Bring in new movements, new exercises, you're going to find these places where the muscle just needs to move to catch up. And that's all that's happening there.
Cool. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah, great question. Great question. Again, if anyone has new aches and pains, please let me know, because we can always find new ways of either explaining them or making them go away. Let's do the opening a couple times. So, starting with our feet together. The weight rock, find your center, and settle. Feel your body heavy. Don't worry, don't try to make adjustments yet, just be exactly where you are. From there, we're going to slowly bring everything back online. The whole point of this opening is to create a proper posture from which to move on and do the form. The gentle foot grab starts as the arches raise just a little bit and the weight presses ever so slightly in the little toe. The umbilicus draws the pelvis into neutral, which brings the thighs online. Knitting those clavicles creates space for the heart, and raising the head neck gives all that lift a place to travel through. From here, just like in our last exercise, we're going to lift the weight out of the left hip, bring it across, and as we press into our right leg, the left hip is going to raise, pulling cross body, feeling that dantian roll, and press down just slightly. From here, we're going to sink just a little into that right leg, and we're not going to collapse in. We're going to press down as the head neck lifts up. Rolling from the belly, stepping out to the side, pulling the weight to neutral from that middle. Take a second here to reestablish your balance. Make sure your feet are where you want them. Got that little bit of toe grab, belly draw, chest concaving, and neck lift. As we inhale, the knees are going to straighten, but not to lock out as the arms raise. As the arms hit parallel, we begin our exhale. And the exhale begins as the whole body rounds in on itself, right? Both vertically and horizontally, drawing in, hands coming to right between the eyes at yin tong, pressing down the renmai, that central vessel. And as I wrap my knees and draw out, I pull them into that stable arch. I can feel the little toe aspect of my foot now engaging the ground. And from that press, I raise up my hips, stack my vertebra one at a time on that base as the arms raise up. And the next exhale, I sit back on a very high stool as the hands come together. Elbows are low. Inhaling again, pulling the hands and the torso together. Elbows are still low. As I exhale, there's a roll both in my shoulders and hips that is followed to a press. Good. And relaxing down, feet together. Let's run through that one more time. Again, feet grab, belly draw, chest concave, head neck lift. The weight lifts out of the left, travels transverse and presses down, freeing that left hip. Drawing from the belly. As the dantian rolls back, the weight sinks just a little. The belly rolls, the leg follows, pulling to center. Once again, feet grab, belly draw, clavicles and head neck. As we inhale, the arms raise. Exhale, everything rolls inward and continues that travel down inside the knees, drawing the knees to stable, lifting up, stacking the vertebra on the hips. As I draw up, the hands are a little behind my body. And as I sit back, they arc around in front, following the natural arc of my shoulders. Hands come together, drawing the torso in the hands, rolling both the shoulders and the hips as we press out. From here, arms go left, hips go right, just a little. I'm exaggerating. There's more like that, but just so you can all see, there's a shift, roll, stepping out, round the leg, drilling into that back left leg. Hand and foot correct, roll. As the hand presses, the left hip draws up, passing outwards, round that left hip, drilling into the right. Hand and foot correct, roll. Round, pulling that foot up, stepping straight out this time, roll that right hip, drill the left, hand and foot correct to reach. Good, and relax. Excellent. Check the time. Perfect. So is that dantian roll into the leg lift making sense for that first opening sequence? Is that helping a little bit? Good, good. We're going to start adding back in the 7 7-star coils into the Schwung P segment, probably in next class, just a little bit. But I want to make very sure that everyone's comfortable with how to raise the foot up and these very basic mechanics. As we go back to it this time, we have a stronger foundation to move from, and everyone's more comfortable. Sound good? So any questions?